Hey folks, welcome. Here we discuss real stories by real people. Today we have the story of a man whose wife cheated on him while he was out of town. Let's see how it goes. Story 1. My wife 27 and I 28 have been together for 7 years. Started dating before college and were exclusive throughout. After college, I moved home while she finished up schooling. At the end of her last semester, she broke up with me because there was another guy that was giving her attention. 2 months later, she came back begging for forgiveness and promised nothing had transpired. 6 months later, we were living in an apartment together. About a year after that, we were married. We moved into a house last year, less than a year after getting married, thanks to the money I got from my grandmother's passing. 4 months ago, she lost her job and has not gotten another one as far as I know. After college and through her joblessness, I've been the breadwinner. I was lucky enough to have a job good enough to pay for most of our expenses, including her student loans and new car. I went out of state a couple Thursdays ago for a project the company was involved in. I wasn't scheduled to be back till next Thursday. Wednesday, I got told I could go home early. I called and told my wife I would be coming home, but I could tell that she wasn't herself and didn't seem happy to hear the news. She said she hadn't been sleeping well. I got home and she did seem tired. We relaxed for a few hours, then went to bed where she insisted or stated that she wanted to have sex. Having been away for almost a week, I was in a giving mood and performed oral before having sex. She didn't seem that into things and her kisses were all close-mouthed. Following day I went to work, nothing unusual. She arrived home after me and went straight to the shower having come from gym class. She doesn't smoke, so when I asked her why there were cigarettes in her purse, it seemed to have started a conversation she was avoiding. She told me she was unhappy and had been for a while. Stated that she thought we wanted different things. Mentioned that she hadn't missed me while I was away. Through it all, I was mostly silent and fuming angry, incapable of putting to words the betrayal that I was feeling. I ended up leaving in tears, and I subsequently broke down. I called my friends and ended up riding to their apartment for a few hours. After returning home around 11:30, I was angry and hurt and started searching the house out of suspicion. She had left the rings on the dresser. I started looking through her computer. There I found through Facebook messages the log of probably 80% of what had been said between her and the guy she slept with over the previous 5 days. She stated that things were bearable while she was working, but that her time out of work was the worst in her life. She felt like she wasn't getting to do the things that she wanted to do, and felt like she was cornered and angry with the decisions that got her here. There were also a number of messages where she insisted that they should get together. Come to find out, she had spent the entirety of Wednesday evening messaging the guy and even invited him to my home for dinner. The messaging continued to the early morning and only stopped when she went to his apartment at close to 3 a.m. She didn't arrive home until after 6 p.m. Wednesday, 2 hours before I got home from the trip. They had unprotected sex and then insisted that we have sex the night I got home, a time frame of about 18 hours. I also found out through these messages that she went to his apartment when she left the house Thursday night. I saved the entire Facebook conversation to a PDF, which ended up being close to 70 pages of messages exchanged in 5 days, stored in multiple places. She came home after 1 a.m. Thursday night, Friday morning. I told her that I knew. She tried to tell me that she didn't intend for things to happen, which was a lie based on the transcript. Much angry silence followed, and she ended up staying in the guest bedroom. Friday morning, I broke the news to my parents. I suggested to her that she move out because I wasn't interested in forgiving her. She left for a few days, but has since returned to the guest room. Her family found out through my parents and are devastated. Her father and I are actually still on good, though awkward, terms despite all of this. I have gotten in touch with a lawyer. I've also gotten tested for STDs and HIV. Results haven't returned yet. I have moved the money that I can out of joint accounts and gotten my own. I've been working on getting my things in order to live without her, once the agreement is finished and she gets out. Once the agreement is finalized, I'll have to wait a full year before the divorce is final. I haven't spoken a word to her in the week since things fell apart, but we're sitting down to discuss it in person today. I'm sure that I missed some details, but that's the gist of it. Really, the only thing that I don't know or have plans for is where do I go from here? I know that I'm still fairly young, but I was never really one to go out and meet new people, and I've literally no clue what I'm doing when it comes to dating as an adult. Edit. For clarity, she does not take birth control. We have used condoms since we started dating, and one was used the night I returned, so the chance for a pregnancy ploy is slim to none. Also, as some of you have pointed out, this ended up not being the first time she cheated. I found out through the transcript that she had sex with some other guy from work 4 years ago, after the breakup and reconciliation, but before we moved in together. I'm sorry this happened to your marriage, OP. Your SDBXW went about this the wrong way. If she was unhappy in the marriage, she should have come to you first and talked it through with you instead of finding comfort in the arms and bed of another man. She ruined her marriage all by herself. It's a good thing that you two don't have kids. This and the evidence that you have will make the divorce proceeding go well in your favor. I wish you better luck when you do decide to find love again, OP. Take care. Now for some comments. I'm sorry you had to go through this, but you handled it very well. I suggest picking up a new hobby or two to fill your time and meet new friends. Something recreational like joining a running club will make you feel great, endorphin release, and get you in better shape if you're not already. Get Tinder if you're interested in meeting new people. Really sorry this happened to you. I wouldn't have been able to handle it as well as you did. You're a strong person, mate. Just remember that no happy marriage ends in divorce. Her cheating on you is a terrible experience, but the road forward is a good one for you. If you start to have any emotional problems, remember that there's nothing wrong with trying therapy. Best of luck. You handled it like a straight-up boss. I'm going through a similar situation. After growing suspicious for a few days, I logged into her Facebook, password saved on browser, and caught my live-in girl in a questionable situation with another man. Did due diligence, and my assessment was accurate. Once I had the proof, my only move was to bag up her clothing and toiletries and give them to her friend. She was out of town on business. She was not allowed back. A lot of her stuff is still here, and her friend is getting a U-Haul to move it out next week. Just don't make any stupid moves. The one conversation we had about it, I told her she was a beautiful woman and hoped she would find a man to make her happy. That of course made her very angry, which is fine. My side of the street is clean, yours is as well. Story 2. My wife 26 and I 26 have been dating since we were 18 years old. We met in our senior year of high school, lasted through college at different schools, and got married 3 years ago, right after we graduated. We both come from Christian families, hers much more strict than mine. She's not a super strict person, but when it comes to cheating, or me looking at other girls or watching porn, etc., she's always been 100% repulsed. When we were engaged, she threatened to leave me at one point and held a grudge for a long time after she found software porn history on my computer. Last year, we moved across the country to a younger, more hip city. She started a job, and so did I. Up until spring of this year, I had been so happy with our relationship. We had a nice place in a new city, did lots of fun things together, bought a puppy, overall just living a good life. I had no reason to suspect anything was wrong. In March, she had a spring break from work and decided to go to Las Vegas for 4 days with one of her girlfriends from college, who was super uber Christian. I wasn't concerned about this at all, as I trusted every ounce of my wife and knew that her friend wouldn't be into too much craziness anyway. After she got back from Las Vegas, I felt like something was off. She began listening to different music. She made friends with different girls at the place she worked, people that I thought weren't very good influences. She was a bit more distant from me. My parents came to visit, and she wasn't her typical sweetheart self to them. About a month after her Vegas trip, I had to travel for 2 weeks for work. Over this time, she attended a Kentucky Derby party with her new friends from work. I don't have anything wrong with her drinking with friends, partying, etc. Like I said, I trusted her. She always was one to flash her ring at guys when with her friends to tell them to buzz off. That night, she got particularly drunk and ended up staying at one of her friends' houses downtown. She never responded to my texts or calls, and I was worried sick. I knew she was drunk that day and didn't make it home. She didn't get in contact with me until the morning, when I was just on my way to Phoenix Airport to catch a flight home. She said she just got too drunk and stayed at a friend's house, no big deal. When I got home from that trip, I could immediately tell something was off. She said she was having second thoughts about us and that she had lost a bit of our connection. She said she had met a British guy in Las Vegas, but nothing happened. She talked to him a bit over the internet, but stopped after a few weeks. That next weekend, we decided to take a small trip to reconnect. On that trip, she had too much alcohol one evening and told me some things she probably shouldn't have. It made me suspect that I didn't have the whole story. I discovered on the trip that she was still using WhatsApp to talk to this guy. She said she was just confiding in him for relationship advice. She told me she would stop communicating with him and deleted the app. The day we got back, I monitored her phone. Within an hour of being home, she was talking to him over Facebook Messenger. It was overtly sexual in nature, and she told him she felt grounded by me and that I was acting like her parent for making her delete the app. This sparked a rage and got her to admit everything about her relationship with him. She had been sending him non-nude Snapchats, or so she claims, in her lingerie. She was attracted to him, felt a connection, and things got sexual over time. She still denied anything happened in Vegas, which I 90% still believe to this day. A week or two later, by sheer coincidence and luck, I found out that there was another guy. This guy wasn't in Britain though. He was in our home city. After some digging, I found out that she got drunk on Kentucky Derby night and spent the night at his house. You can fill in the gaps. I went through all the stages that you would expect for someone that was cheated on this hard. After seeing how much she hurt me, she immediately retreated and started feeling tons of guilt and shame. She never came clean though, until I had her backed into a corner and told her I knew. She said she was afraid it would end things between us and didn't know how to tell me. That was 3.5 months ago. We've had a small bit of counseling, a lot of ups and downs, and a good bit of fighting. I truly believe she's past that phase. She says it was a bad time in her life, she made a bad decision when drunk with guy number 2, and was just swooned by guy number 1, who was very attractive for what it's worth. She has convinced me, I truly believe this, that she's past it, loves me with all her heart, and would do anything to fix things with me. She's trying very hard today, but it just doesn't ever feel satisfactory after what happened. I internally criticize so many things she does, and constantly wonder what else is out there for me with someone who would understand and respect me better. I still love my wife, but it's not the same as it once was. We were both madly in love with each other for a long time. Things were so pure between us. We were each other's first and only sexually up until the affair. We go back a long way and truly do have a deep connection. But all of those feelings have dwindled, and I don't know if they can come back. So many trust issues, always wondering if she's lying about something or keeping something from me, and constantly comparing myself to those more attractive guys. Thinking about her sending explicit photos to someone else and sleeping with someone else. I just don't know if these are things I can recover from mentally. It doesn't help that the whole thing hit me like a brick wall. I had no idea that there were any issues in our relationship, only to have to dig and find out about this whole secret life. I know there are lots of people out there that have probably gone through similar things. Half the things I read say that you'll never get over the feelings that I'm having. The other half say that you can do anything if you put your mind to it and truly care about the person. I don't feel like I've wasted 8 years of my life with her. There's no regrets, but I do feel like I devoted 8 years to her when I could have probably enjoyed my young life in different ways. I'm so afraid that I'll waste even more waning years of my young life trying to make something work that is destined to fail again. This is quite hard, OP. I'm sorry you're going through this. Your wife broke her vows, and her excuse of it being a bad phase in her life doesn't excuse or make it go away. She made conscious choices, and she chose these new men over you every time. I don't know if you two can get past this, but some couples surely have. You may never forget it, but you might be able to live with it. Continue couples counseling. Hopefully it helps you learn to live with it, but if it doesn't, then get a divorce. Life is too short to stay in a horrible marriage.